Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to another English podcast with Paul. If you haven't guessed it already, I'm your host and my name is Paul. Just a quick announcement. I now have my podcast on Buzzsprout and soon it will go on to Apple, Spotify and a few other of the well-known name brands for podcasts. If you're new here, then let me just tell you briefly that this is unedited, unscripted, and under an hour advanced English listening for those wanting to learn English and wanting to learn some more nuance and conversational English. All right, so it's unedited, so you will hear me make mistakes, which all English people do. Actually, most English people are quite ignorant to the English language, and many of us never learnt grammar at school, and so most of you out there will actually have a better understanding of grammar than probably 90% of the English speaking population around the world. Well, around English speaking countries. Okay, right, so let's jump into it. Deep breath. Okay, today we're talking about drones. All right, drones. So a few interesting facts about drones, first of all. Right, let me get to it. So there's the etymology or the roots of the word drone. All right, so we got two different directions here. So we got the English word drone. I'm reading this from Wikipedia. All right, the English word drone, Germanic, trino. And I apologize if I butcher the pronunciation of these words. They're not my first language, German and Gothic, so do forgive me. All right, Germanic treno, meaning drone, from the word drungus, was used in Gothic era, meaning noise, and from the Greek threnos, meaning funeral song. And then in 1946 is named as the first time, used as the first time, thus the word drone became unmanned aircraft. Now that's one thought of it, one direction of it. And the other we've got here is in 1935, the British produced a number of radio-controlled aircrafts. So back in the 50s and 60s, we had these model airplanes and then eventually model helicopters and things like that. And it was a hobby. It was very much a hobbyist thing. Aircrafts to be used for training purposes, although the term drone started to be used at this time, inspired by the name of one of these models, the DH-82B Queen Bee. So I'm guessing it was taken from this model, Queen Bee, and a worker drone, because you have drones in a bee colony. So that's the two versions that I've got here. The etymology of the word, and then why we sort of took it on, meaning unmanned aircraft. Specifically what we now know as drones being more quadcopters, as opposed to the old radio aircrafts. Interesting. I thought that was interesting. I didn't know. I myself have a drone. I have now, I often buy older models that have got all the bells and whistles. So, for example, I've got an older model drone, but it comes in a flight case, which is a hard plastic case. And it's got extra batteries and extra propellers and stuff like that. So I prefer to buy an older one. I also buy it from like a second-hand shop or a used shop. They also give, on this case, 2 years worth of warranty. A lot of things like phones, you get 1 year worth of warranty. And they're very, very good. I've used them for electronics, this shop, CEX, Charlie Echo X-Ray. CEX. I've used them a lot over the last sort of 5 to 10 years, and they are pretty good to their word. If the thing is broken, if as long as you haven't done it, then they will take it back or exchange it and things like that. So CEX. like I said, so I've got a drone. I did actually have a drone about 5 years ago, but I was too scared to fly it because I think it cost like £500 back then, and it just come in a soft box, and I was too scared to fly it, and I ended up selling it. Anyway, so I've got one now. I've been flying it. It is fun. It's interesting. Now, as some of you might know, in the past, I used to operate cranes, mobile cranes. So I did all the qualification to to operate a mobile crane. And that is very precise and gentle, soft hand movements because you're dealing with very big machinery, really high up in the sky and quite far away from you. So every tiny minute detail that you move with your hands, and often on one side of the joysticks, you have a roller, so you can do very, very minute movements. You know, with a crane, you can actually be inch specific, you know, like 2.5 centimeters specific. Imagine, obviously, changing the propellers on a huge wind turbine. You'd have to be able to be specifically close and careful and precise. There we go. That's the word I wanted. Precise. Very, very precise. So I thought I've operated a crane for a while. I should be able to pick up how to operate this drone. Now, I think there was some lap over in my skill set, but in my ignorance, it was a lot harder than I thought. So it's taken me quite a while. It's taken me a good sort of 4 hours to be gentle and start broadening my horizons with this drone. I've got to fix it now, so I've been and bought a kit to fix it because I crashed it, as you'd imagine, and so I got to fix it now. So I bought the kit to fix it, and I bought the new ribbon, tiny little ribbon electrical thing that I need to reinstate. Okay, right. So yes, my drone, and I don't know if you know this. There's in my country and probably in the US and Australia, there's different laws now that regulate the use of drones, and a lot of it depends on the weight of the drone. So this drone I've gone for is under the regulations in my country. It's 249 grams with the battery in it. All right, 249 grams. Now, actually, I've done a course and I've paid for a registration number. So I have got the registration number there from my government, a bit like the American FDA. I can't remember what ours is called, but I've got a registration that I've got stuck onto the drone, and then I've been on a course myself, which you don't need it for under 249 grams. All right, so we have courses for different weights. The lowest one, 249 grams with the battery, you don't need to go on, as I just said. Above that, you're supposed to have these do the little course. It's online. It's easy. It's just a bunch of questions that you give you the answer to beforehand. And I think it cost me something like £18. I want to say £18, and then another £10 to register my name and the drone, just so that if I crash it somewhere and somebody get injured and they pick it up, they can trace it back to me and get me in trouble. I guess that's accountability. Now, if you want to be a responsible adult, accountability is key. Okay, I digress. So I've got this drone. I've done my courses. It's very good for traveling because it's a Mavic DJI. I can't remember the rest of the name. Mavic. Let's have a look. I got it here in this big flight case, as I said. And it's got the name written on it. So I say it's got the name written on it. I'm holding it up to those that are watching on YouTube. You can see it now. It's just tiny little thing. It's like a toy almost. It's so small and light. Obviously, light's good, But you can literally put this in your pocket. It's like a bulky phone. Ultralight, 249 grams, DJI. I think it's a Mavic. There we go. Anyway, so, and I don't want to show you the code, but I've got the code on the top of it anyway. Right, so where are we going with this? There's a lot of things you can do with drones nowadays. So, with that one being so light, I can fly it almost anywhere. Now, I say almost anywhere because in the park you can fly it, and generally in fields and in the street and things like this, you can fly it no problem. Now, ironically, I don't know why I say ironically, but surprisingly, this thing is very capable of going very, very high and quite far. Because it looks like a toy, you don't expect it. So, despite me having my qualifications, you can fly it almost anywhere. Now, if I remember rightly, I'm not allowed to fly it in dense populated areas. So, if it's a park and it's your friends and family around the park and, then you're responsible for it. But you can't go flying it in festivals over a dense amount of people. Now, I think the wording they give is where people can't move out of the way of it should it fall. Because if it falls and it's on your head, you'll get a bump and you'll be like, that blimmin' hurt, But it's not going to kill you because it's so light. Now, like I said, you can't fly it in a big crowd, but generally in a park, you're okay. So that's 249 grams and below. So I just said that you could use it for a lot of different things. What can you use a drone for? Now, a lot of hobbyists, like myself, want to use it for their videos. I have another channel. And so I want to use it for my videos to help give a bit more understanding of the area that I'm in, give the view. So I want to use it for my videos. Other hobbyists like to use it for racing. And there's a whole load of racing industry. And often these racing drones, like I say, have leagues. They have different categories, speeds, acrobatics, all sorts of amazing things. Now, these racing drones are often FPV. FPV. First person view. So basically you're wearing a pair of goggles, they've got antennas sticking out, wearing these goggles, and you can see what the camera sees. So you can go through these little obstacles. And it's really, really amazing to watch and to see what these things are capable of. Like I said, super, super quick as well. And there's like a whole industry around this FPV, first person view. You can buy the kits, there's leagues, there's whole groups of it. It's a massive industry now. And such so that most of these drones, not all of them, but most of them, are sort of homemade or kits put together to make it super light. People are printing off their own parts and putting them together themselves to make it lighter and lighter so they can go faster and do more things. So like I said, this is a massive whole industry just on these hobbyists of drones. So that's the FPV. Now, most people have heard of DJI, and DJI now have got into the game of these FPV drones. They've got a couple different types, but this latest one, what's it called? Avatar, AVATA, DJI Avatar. Pronounce it how you want. Avatar. Now this comes with like a shield around the blades. So I guess as you're learning with it, you hit it a lot more. So this is DJI's second version for the racing drone. They also supply the goggles with it. Also about the distance and the frequencies have to be regulated. And again, a lot of cinematographers are really getting into this first perspective of the drone, especially when it comes to things like waterfalls and cliffs. You know, these things can obviously have a lot of resilience, but the video feed back to the phone or back to the receiver is amazing now. The lag is almost zero. So it's pretty outstanding. Just the footage that you can get from some of these shots. If you watch some of the top photographers like Peter McKinnon and some of his friends, some of these things they do, like in Iceland, you know, with the drone coming down over the cliff and the waterfall, it's fantastic, the cinematography. Now, not this Avatar, but some of the other drones have some amazing camera kit on it, like the DJI Air. They have like Hasselblad, excuse me, Hasselblad cameras on it. And if you know anything about cameras, Hasselblad is a really big name, you know, for cinematography and great, not cinematography, I was thinking cinematic kind of videos and the lenses and things like that. So some of these now are being used for really high-end cinema production and videography. So amazing bits of kit, they really are. And then if you wanted to get into the real big expensive stuff, you're looking at like the Inspire 3. Now that is different. Not only is it a lot bigger, you know, it's like a pterodactyl. It's so huge, right? The arms come out and the camera goes below. So when it starts up, it's got these feet. And then when it starts up and it goes up into the air, the whole thing sort of moves up like landing gear. It goes up and allows the body of the drone and the camera to dangle underneath. Now, I don't know if I've said already, but virtually every single one of these drones have a camera on it. Also has it on a gimbal, all right, a mechanical gimbal. Now, gimbal is 2 or 3 axes, movements that it's able to stabilize to give you amazing footage, amazing super smooth footage. And mechanical gimbal is always better. Sorry, mechanical stabilization is always far superior than editing stabilization, built-in stabilization, or ESP. What was it? ESP? Internal stabilization? Electronic stabilization. You know, like with the iPhones and with the Pixels and Galaxies now, that the flagship, they have amazing, and also point and shoots and other DSLR cameras and mirrorless cameras virtually all have this electronic image stabilization. But that's still not as good as a mechanical gimbal with 3 axes, because the electronic image stabilization crops your picture. It brings your picture a little bit smaller. It cuts it in, so it's able to have the middle of the frame, and all the juttering movement stays on the outside. So your frame is cut down. But with the mechanical gimbal and the 3 axes, it doesn't do any of that. It obviously stabilizes it really well. Electronic gyroscopes and things like this. Anyway, so that's the Inspire, the DJI Inspire, and those sort of prices. Now, my voice went up there a bit because I'm quite shocked sometimes at seeing the prices. Those sort of prices, you're looking at £3,000, £4,000, £5,000, and then going up and up and up into the tens and 20,000s of pounds. Astronomical sorts of money. But those are real high-end stuff, you know, for movie production and TV production. Real high, expensive quality. Because you can put on adaptable lenses. You can fly in much higher, much stronger winds. And they're just more professional pieces of kit. Now, that's the Inspire. Then we have ones like mine, which I think I said what it was, Mavic Air or something like that. Very, very small and compact. Then we have the other ones that are more cinematic. the Air 3, DJI Air 3. Oh, mine's a Mavic Mini, that's it. Oh, now I remember. Mine's a Mavic Mini. So going back, DJI Air 3, that's much more about the cameras, all round dual cameras and Hasselblad and high names and stuff like that. Then there's the Mini 4 now, which has got, and a lot of the hobbyist ones like mine, maybe not mine because mine's a bit older, have all these sensors around the outside, so you're less likely, what do they call it? Collision avoidance. Wow, collision avoidance. Sounds like something from Tesla, doesn't it? So a lot of these drones are getting easier and easier and safer to fly when you're going in amongst some trees, when you're going, I don't know, through a gate or something like that, or over things. All right, so that's the Pro. So the Pro series, again, is a bit heavier, a bit bulkier, and much stronger with regards to the motors. So it can withstand higher winds, like over cliff tops. As you know, when you fly over a cliff or you're flying a kite on the beach, there's a lot of strong wind coming up off the sea. And so cliffs and high buildings and things like that have a lot stronger and moving winds in multiple directions. So it's much more complicated. All right, so that's the Pro. What did I call it? Oh, so we've got the Air, the Pro. That's it, the Mavics. The Mavics are much stronger. And then we come back to that Avata, number 2. All right, so that's kind of like DJI's lineup. Now, I know I said DJI a lot, but they are the king. They are the top dogs in this industry. There are other makes available, but they seem to be on top of their game. Everybody mimics them, but their drones seem to be really well built. And the app and the whole ecosystem for these drones seem to be pretty good compared to some of the other offerings out there. All right, so we talked about that. I talked about rosy. Right, the other thing. Now, this is something else I looked at. The other thing with these drones is they're not just being used for military. The idea of spying over the enemy lines or maybe dropping bombs over enemy lines. So not just military purposes. A lot of drones now are being used in surveying. And there's multiple types of surveying. So the first type that I was looking at, that you can almost start with a hobby drone, is surveying the roofs. The roof of somebody's house that wants it to be inspected or looked at from another angle, so they don't have to get the scaffolding, or they don't have to pay somebody to go up there on a ladder, and risk falling off. So being able to use a drone to look quite closely, maybe around a chimney. In the UK, we have a lot of older houses with chimneys. That's a funny old word, chimney. Chimney. Now, tell me in the comments below if I spelt that wrong. I am only human and an ignorant English person. Lots of chimneys in the UK, and sometimes what happens, not always, but occasionally what happens, the chimney is supported all the way down through the house. And like I said, sometimes a previous owner may have taken out some bricks to change the interior of the house. And so there, maybe in the basement or hidden where you don't notice, or even in the attic or loft, that's the space above the top floor. But underneath the roof, but above the top floor, that little space we call the attic or the loft. So you can have a loft conversion where you can turn it into a bedroom or an attic room. So that space up there. Sometimes people have taken out the bricks, whether it was a thing done back in the 40s, 50s or 60s, 1940s or 50s, that there was a shortage of bricks. I don't know. But it's been known many, many times been known for people to take the bricks out of the chimney, which, getting back to the point, makes chimneys unsafe. Now, chimneys have been around for a long, long time. And so to be able to inspect the top of the chimney without getting up there with a ladder, without hiring somebody to pay for scaffolding and all that malarkey, having a look around your roof and your chimney is a very cheap and safe alternative. So inspections of roofs, also inspections of other taller buildings, more professional drones are being used for. Now, also not just buildings to be inspected and flats and actual industrial chimneys, where you have these round things called chimney stacks, that used to have coal in them. So those are also being inspected with drones, and also sometimes pylons, electrical pylons. We're starting to open up the industry now. So buildings, tall structures such as large chimneys, poles, telecommunication. I can't say the word. Let me try again. Telecommunication towers, things like that. Pylons. Now, I've seen one on YouTube. I've seen one drone that was going along the pylons, the electrical grid that connects the whole country in this big grid of electric. I've seen one drone go along there on YouTube and connect to the cable to charge itself back up. And then it's able to keep going. So that's perpetual electricity for the drone. Perpetual motion. Wow. Imagine that, a drone that can charge itself off the pylon and keep going. That saves a lot of money on helicopters and men getting close to the pylons. So that's brilliant. So we got chimneys, industrial buildings, telecommunication towers, pylons. Right, so that's where it starts. And then we go on to other things. So building sites. There's building sites with, say, 100 tons of, say, coal or 100 tons of a commodity in an area. And the person on the ground, the supervisor, manager, say, oh, yeah, we got 100 tons and this company's moving it away. And you can get a drone now that can visually look at it and put in all these markers and quantify, calculate exactly how much is there. So that the drone goes above it goes all around it, and it goes down to the ground, and then makes a map of it and can actually map the whole site. And so it can quantify exactly, well, not exactly, but pretty darn close to how much of this coal or commodity is actually there. And then that can be done by an independent person without gaining access to the site. So if you live in another country and, for example, you own or you live in a different part of the country and you've got some money invested in this commodity, whether it's coal or coffee or whatever, you can tell exactly how much is there with this drone and a third party unbiased person telling you what's there. So that's pretty amazing. Another thing it can do on the same thing, on the same line, is quantifying surveying. Now, we're getting quite technical into the building aspect here, and it's above my pay grade. I'm starting to lose it. I've watched a lot of videos and done quite a lot of research. Now, there's only a few drones that are able to do this. The Inspire drones, and now I think it's the Mavic drones, the latest Mavic drones, has the ability to have these and has these screw holes where you can put on top. Now, I did have all the right names, but I forgot them. Basically, a GPS tracking system on top of the drone. Now, what this means is that when you do this what do they call it? Like surveying, you put down these ground markers in specific places. And you have to do a lot of them. And then you stand up with this big stick with another GPS unit, like a base station on the top. And then somebody goes around to the other ones, and it's a long process of mapping out exactly all these different points with the GPS, which then connects to the satellites up in the sky. And so you're able to map out very, very accurately the land, the topography, and you know, a lot more other detail that I don't know about. So now you can do it with the drone, with a GPS thing on the top and a few markers on the floor. So it doesn't negate the need for a surveyor, but it does make things a lot quicker and a lot easier with the drone, especially over larger areas. This has also been used for mapping dangerous areas or areas of deep foliage, maybe like parts of the jungle or forests. You're able to map the topography with this camera and the sensors, because it's not just a camera you can put on there. You can put on other sensors, and you can map the terrain even though you can't see it from above. So you know if there's, for example, if you've got a big forest, this could go over and let you know if there's a building in there, a bunker in there, heat seekers. Oh, that's another thing. So you can do all this amazing surveillance. And there's a lot of money involved with it as well, because it's saving a lot of manpower and a lot of time. And there's a lot of software involved as well. Some of the software, you're looking at 10, 20, 30,000 pounds for the software to correlate and to get all this information together. And it puts out a whole massive load of data, which then can be used for the architects and the builders and engineers to ascertain what needs to be done, what's there, what's not there. So it's big business. It really is big business. Okay, getting quite passionate I am. Moving over from the quantitative, and then there's also quantitative surveying, which I mentioned, like the load of coal. So you got quantitative surveying, you got landscape surveying. You can also do inspections of solar panels. So if you have a massive solar farm, you can go in with a specialized drone and you can map out and mark the whole area. And then you can do thermal and infrared scans to see which of those panels are underperforming or broken or not working. And then you could send in somebody to rectify the issues on a huge, great solar farm. So that saves hundreds of man hours. Again, the software involved with that, there's drones involved with that, and the GPS tracking. It's another massive industry, or another bow to that industry. So that's like 3 or 4 things. And then another one is search and rescue. Because these drones not only have the GPS you can get put on, but you can also get the, like I said, heat seeking. So instead of sending out, for example, if there's a criminal on the run and he's running through a forest, instead of sending out a helicopter, which is going to cost a huge amount, you can send out a couple of drones with heat seekers on, and those drones can map a whole area and they could find the target, whether it's that person or, like I said, maybe it's search and rescue. Maybe they're rescuing somebody that's got lost. So the scope for different industries that these drones can delve into and save a lot of money and a lot of time is massive. It's massive. If you like the idea of flying a drone, have a look at one of these industries. Now, you might be thinking, well, why isn't everybody doing it? Therein lies the crutch. Now, that would be that, 1, they get expensive. 2, you need to spend the time learning how to fly it, but a lot of them have preset flight paths. So, for example, if you're looking at this solar farm, you can mark on the map, send the drone out and come back and fly out, and you can mark on the map, on your screen, on your phone, the key points of the external parameter of the farm, of the solar farm. All right, so it doesn't go across into other areas. And then you can set it off and it'll figure out the trajectory of this most efficient route to do a little bit of overlap. You can also work out how much overlap you want as well. If you have a big lot of overlap, if you have quite a lot of overlap, you're much more likely to get more effective data. Hence why they have a lot of overlap. So the drone can sort out the whole route, the most effective route. It'll tell you how much time it takes, how much battery power it takes. It can come back and change, and you can change the battery, and then it'll go again. These things are amazing. But you need the money, the software, the training, and buy the kit itself, and then reach out and start a business. Unless you're already a surveyor, and then it's just an add-on that will save you a lot of money or make a lot of money. Also, there's photography. If you want to sell, say, somebody's got a beautiful land, maybe a pond and a house and sheds and things, maybe you could offer them, say, look, I got some beautiful images as I was flying across. Would you like to purchase a picture of your house for, say, $10? And you do that to multiple people, you'll soon make a good bit of money. Anyway. I'm rambling on. So yeah, these drones are amazing. What you can do with them now. So much. So many different industries. Search and rescue, inspections, quantitative surveying, photography, video. I bet you know many more than I do. So link them down below. What would you like to see drones doing for us? Well, just look at Amazon and Uber deliveries of food in the future. That's not that far away. The drones are getting much quieter now. There's new motor and propeller innovations that are coming out. You can buy them now. I think you can buy them on Amazon, quiet blades and things like this. So let me know in the comments what kind of industry you would like to see drones get into next. Or what drone would you buy? All right. So yes, sorry, I got quite passionate. I do like drones. I think they're a fascinating and interesting new industry. From models and hobbyists all the way up to professionals and expensive high-end pieces of equipment. All right, that's it for today. Like I said, unedited, unscripted, and under an hour. Let me know in the comments what you think about what drones should get into next. But yeah, I'm very passionate about it, very excited to see where it goes in the future. And yeah, let me know what you think. Okay, that's it for today. Take care. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.